Hello friends, let's discuss more about the processes. We have seen life cycle of the process and today we are going to discuss layout of the system memory. We know that the process requires a memory, but how much memory is required for the process or how to allocate it, that is more important. So before that, let's discuss what this Unix process is mainly consist of. The main contents of Unix process is or can be divided into three major parts: text part, data part, and stack part. The text part is containing the instructions. The data part is nothing but the operands required for that instructions. These instructions are mostly, you can say, machine code instructions or can be translated directly to the machine understandable format. And the stack part will be used by the process for its internal purpose, and for all these data, text or stack, it requires memory. Now we can directly allocate the available physical memory with the machine. Okay, so if we allocate that memory, physical memory, directly, what's wrong with it? You may think there is nothing wrong with it. We can load it, and of course we can do that, but this approach is not that much efficient. Why? Because if we do so, then, or if the machine treat the addresses of multiple processes in physical memory, it could not be possible to execute more than one process concurrently, and therefore the compiler comes into picture, and compiler generates address for virtual address space. See, and actually this is how the overall memory allocation will be done for the process. So instead of loading the process into physical memory, the compiler generates the logical addresses, and these logical addresses will be translated to the physical memory. The physical memory will be made available to the process with the help of memory management unit of the kernel. It can implement that by using swapping approach or by demand paging approach. In upcoming videos we'll see more details about that, but for time being let's consider the data structures required for all these things, and the associated data structures for the processes, as we all know, is uarea, the process table. Every process is having its own memory, and every process is having entry into one table called process table. There is associated uarea with every process, and that process table entry will take us to the per process region table entry. What is this per process region table entry, and what is this region table? We'll see it in detail, but before that let's see what is the contents of each of these tables. Just remember that it is anonymous to the file structures and all. This process table or p region table sometime can be considered as a file table, and this region table can be considered as a inode table. The concept is anonymous to the inode table, as in files we reach to the physical file through file table and inode table. Here we reach to the process through per process region table and region table. Okay, and the MMU memory management unit is going to translate that logical address to the physical address. Okay, now what is there in uarea? See, this uarea as I said earlier, every process has its own U area which contains a pointer to process table. So from U area you can identify which process U area it is, and it is two-way pointer, as this process table entry also has a pointer to U area. See, here we can see. So there is a pointer which can take you from U area to process or process to U area. Okay, there are UIDs associated with the U area. Okay, so whichever process associated U area is there, who is the user who created that U area, or who is the user who created that process. Okay, and UIDs, there are two types of UIDs, effective UID and real UID. All will be maintained in U area itself. It also maintains one field called timer. This timer is useful to identify how much time the process has spent into user mode, how much time the process has spent into kernel mode. All that information will be kept here in a timer field. There is a signal reaction field which is responsible for keeping the information about all the signals which may be received by this process and how to react to that signals. uh, every process is having associated a terminal, control terminal. Of course we can have the process which is not having any control terminal. We can call such process as a background processes. But if there is a terminal associated with the process, that information of that terminal will be kept in this U area itself. It also has a error field record, and it also has a field to save the return value. So we already said that whenever user gives a system call, kernel returns something, and that return value will be saved here in U area. Okay, it also maintains IO parameters. Whenever we are performing read or write operations, then IO read, IO write operations, these IO parameter plays very important role, which includes amount of data to transfer, the address of source or target depending on whether we are reading or writing, and the file offset to keep track of the operation. Okay, it also holds the current directory information, current root information, and it also holds the record for user file descriptor table. Then the limit and permissions field are providing security to this U area and effectively to the process. Okay, now in process table what we have is, process table maintains a state information, state of the process, in which state currently the process is. We have already seen the state transition diagram of the process, and we know that it can be in one of the states like ready to run, or kernel running, or any other state, and that state will be maintained in this table. It contains a pointer to P region. What is this P region? P region is nothing but per process region table. Okay, this is also referred as a P region as a shortcut. Okay, so pointer that will take you to the P region entry. Okay, then we have pointer to U area. We have already discussed this. Size of the process, associated UIDs, event descriptors, scheduling parameters, so that whenever it is required to schedule the process, these parameters will be taken into considerations. Again, the signals and timer information, so that we can identify, or system can identify, that utilization of the CPU, how much utilization has been done by this particular process. Okay, now every process is having a P region table. Okay, what is this P region table? It holds the starting virtual address of the region. As I said, the compiler always generates the virtual addresses, and these virtual addresses are part of virtual address space, and the part, or we can say partition, within the virtual address space which is continuous in nature, that can be considered as a region, and pointer can be maintained or information can be maintained which can take us to the starting address of this region, and this can be achieved through this per process region table entry. So it contains the starting virtual address of the region, permissions for the region, and the pointer to the region table. Now we have a region table which is maintained by the kernel. Now this region table is actually nothing but it maintains the physical addresses of whatever virtual addresses we have with us. So there will be entry for each active region into this region table, and it also holds the information to determine the physical location of the region. Okay, region is nothing but, as I said earlier, it is part of virtual address space and it is continuous in nature. Now point to be noted here, these regions are independent of memory management policies, like how it is translating that virtual address to the physical one, whether it is using the swapping mechanism or whether it is using the demand paging mechanism. The region concept is independent of that concern. Also this region concept is independent of the implementation of the memory management. So whether it is a paging approach or whether it is the segmentation approach, it has nothing to do with that. Okay, so as a summary, what I can say is, in order to deal with the process requires memory will be allocated. That memory is virtual memory, and we need to translate that virtual memory to the physical memory, but we don't have to worry about it. There is a memory management unit which will translate this virtual address to physical address. So now the concern is that how to reach to the virtual address, and for reaching to the virtual address we have data structures like process table, per process region table, and region table. And that's all for today's this video. In next video we'll discuss more in detail how this memory management unit is translating the logical address, or can say virtual address, to the physical one. Thank you.